Blog Talk Radio.
Hey everybody, it's your girl Sunny D. This is our first podcast in the new year.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Happy New Year.
Did we do did we do the New Year's one this year or did we do it last year?
Nah, we did the end of the year show.
We did. This is our first show of the new year. Yes. Oh, Happy New Year, guys. We're back. Did you miss us? I know. I'm waiting for response.
I'm sure they did.
No, but I really waited for a response. Like somebody could say, "Yeah, we missed y'all." I don't know.
Pretty sure somebody might call in.
Yeah. Tell us you missed us. I don't know. It's January 13th, 2020, guys. Oh, I need to get my glasses because I can't. To see that is a little bit blurry. I make my font bigger on my Peter. But guys, y'all want to say hi?
What's going on, good people? You already know it's Smooth. What's going on?
What up, though? It's your boy Willie Styles back in the building. Happy New Year, everybody.
Yes. I was so excited to do this show because I think it's going to be absolutely dope. But if you're listening right now, you're on blogtalkradio.com/GFT Radio Show. If you listen to playback, you're either on Spotify, SoundCloud. I have to update SoundCloud though. Google Play Music, iTunes, YouTube, and of course you can play back here. But catch this and tell us what you think. Rate the show and all that goodness. Follow, subscribe, like, all that jazz. Cop some merchandise. I just finally got back my hoodie that my daughter hostage in her room that she need to get her own. Go on our website, teespring.com/store/GFT Radio, cop some merchandise. I still got to get time. I'm sorry, I started back up school, so I've been online doing that. I got a class online, and I've been clocking in hours. But I have to get back onto the site and add the kids' clothes, but I'm definitely going to do that. Hopefully, I should have some downtime this weekend, so once I upload those things, I will post them out on our website so you can see them and go buy and copy the babies. It's hoodie time, it's arena sweatshirts and all that. Do that. Long sleeve, all that. If you want to call in, 657-383-1155. What else am I missing, guys?
Don't forget to hit us on Twitter at GFT_radio. We on these tweets.
We on these tweets.
What?
Nah, Willie said we on these tweets.
I got the Twitter fingers. Tonight, so make sure y'all hit us up. Quit playing.
Let me tell you something about me and Twitter. Me and Twitter, I don't listen. I know I gotta get better at it. I really do. Because if I'm not pushing through IG, so don't nobody see nothing from me on Twitter.
After show, I might gotta. I think that might be a discussion. We might gotta talk about some things between Twitter and IG. You feel me?
Okay.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because I be noticing a lot of things that we be saying on IG be like 2 weeks old on Twitter. Word up. Like, be on Twitter for a while, then you go to IG. Like, man, this is old.
Right, yeah. It'd be like that. Poor neglecting Twitter. But Twitter's still alive. A lot of people that's their method of communication.
I be seeing people be tweeting me. I be like, I've been feeling so bad, and I be getting a lot of IG follow requests. I don't know them people. They be looking suspect. I'm like, I don't know y'all. Like y'all music artists like that. Y'all need to prompt me with like a DM or something. Like, hey, like I'm not podcast. Y'all be looking like suspect. Like that one person that I know that like I don't know about that. I don't trust in that. I tell y'all to follow me, but I mean it. But like,
see out here distrusting the general public. What's up with that? I don't get it. I don't understand.
I don't understand either.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna talk about the ins and outs of social media and why it's weird out there in these social media streets. We'll talk about that later in the after show. Let's talk about that later in the after show.
All right, so we got a great topic lined up for y'all tonight. Who came up with this topic?
I think it was really a consensus. I just wanted, we wanted to talk about more business-oriented things on the show. So it was like, it was perfect, and we wanted to do interviews. That was the one thing. We wanted to start interviewing people local from from out here in Trenton. I know Willie got Trenton, New Jersey, and I know Willie got people out there he might want to invite on the show to promote or highlight. That's what we really wanted to do. We wanted to highlight people doing good, positive things in the community. But at the same time, I wanted to give people a chance to promote their businesses and stuff like that. So that's probably that's definitely how the show started, because I think I had contacted y'all about we should have hopefully he's still able to call in. James Taylor, he owns a barbershop, a business owner. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He real dope. He always do stuff in the community. So wanted to interview him. Hopefully he get the chance to call in. And I think Willie mentioned something about or you sent us an article or something. You was mentioning about business, and I think we just could decide just to do the show about that.
Now I'm drawing a blank. I'm sorry. I'm tripping. I don't know. I send so much stuff to everybody. Believe me, y'all. See, that's the thing. They got me on the research tip. I'll be doing all the topic research, and there's be so much. It just be jumbled up. But I'm gonna go grab that right quick. I know it. I think I know what you're talking about now that I'm thinking about it. Yep. I'm gonna grab that article real quick.
I think it's businesses within our communities. And I think it's dope to highlight different businesses within our communities and people that's doing positive things, because people always highlight the negative. It's always good to promote. And plus, everybody all about, we talking about businesses and all that stuff that goes in between all that. And promotion is key. You have to, to get promoted, you have to promote other people. Like it's like I scratch your back, scratch mine. You come on out, like people, we highlight you, and at the same time, you have people that follow you are listening to us, and then they might like what we say, and they might check out our other stuff. In the same way we can bring business to you, we can tell our friends. I was just talking about this while really, like I said, I just started my math class. We have it twice a week, and then it's online too. So we have we had an introduction where I built with these people. We've been in the same class for last year, last semester, which was 11-week. We do 11-week courses. So you do two courses within 11 weeks, one in the morning and one in the night. And it's a bunch of us, probably like 30 of us, or a little under 30. And you just go to class with them, but you don't really know them. You work with them every day. You see them all the time. Talk to them about different stuff, but you don't really get to know them. And in that meeting, we in that particular math class, while we were waiting for our teacher to get there, because she was a little bit delayed, they did let's introduce each other. And even though we talked to each other about different, work class where you didn't really get to know what people were doing. And it's so many different people within the business community of entrepreneurship, people that started business, people that failed at one business and then started up another one, but they learned it from, and people you can get all these valuable information from. And it was funny because we were going back and forth and talking about it, and they asked me, you get around the room, they asked me what I do. I said, I do a podcast. And they're like, what's your podcast about? Like, it got like, well, she do a podcast, let's all talk about it. So then we talk about everything when we sat there, and I said, coincidentally, that week we were supposed to do this show, but I was sick. And we were talking about it, and I was just telling them, we're going to do a show about business things, and they were like, oh, really? And I said, we're trying to get more of highlighting people, the businesses within our community doing positive things. And, it's like, branding and promoting each other at the same time. It's like, scratch your back, I scratch mine. And, like, you get to know, and once you start to get to know what people do, you can kind of put people on to that. Like, oh, listen to this podcast, he cut hair, he do hair amazing, I go to him every week, like, oh, go send him this way. So it's like we promote each other, and within the black community, everybody always out for self and want to benefit themselves. And it's when you realize that you could be like, and I'm going to go here with it, but Black Wall Street, they helped each other. It was that community that wanted to see each other win, and that's why they were so prosperous, and that's why they had the problems they had. Because when you helping each other, you don't need help from the outside. It's like, oh, what the hell are y'all doing? But they were doing something positive, and if we can get an inkling of that, to really help each other and not be takers and help more helpers, it's a benefit to us all.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Like, that was my take.
That's another reason why I wanted to do it. That's another reason why I wanted to do this show, to highlight and discuss that aspect of it as well. Of you know what I mean, how operating because what you're speaking about more is marketing and promotion. And I mean, in business, I remember when I first started my transportation and my notary business, the first thing was real big with me was just promoting, just getting it out there everywhere. You know what I mean? You go on all my social media sites, that's all I had. That's all I was talking about. Yes, hit me up, forget Uber, forget Lyft. I was you feel me? Hit Clint, or if y'all need a notary. And then also word of mouth. See, now once you promote your business and get clientele, word of mouth will do more than you saying anything when you handle business properly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you handle after the marketing and promotion, you attract the customers, you attract the clientele, what have you. Now it's the quality of service.
Yeah.
Right.
After that, you feel me? It's the quality of service. And how do y'all feel? I guess the question I have when we talk about quality of service, do you think in our community, in the black community, we're too harsh on ourselves when it comes to service, more than we are to other races and other businesses? Like, we judge ourselves more harshly?
So the way I feel about that situation is, I think there's two parts to this, because I feel like when you see others treat us badly, and either in our community or outside of our community, when we patronize non-black owned facilities and non-black owned businesses, I think that, at least for the people who pay attention, who notice, who take note of these things, they feel like it's what's to be expected to a point, because they feel like those establishments don't respect us as viable consumers. They don't respect our buying power. They don't respect our humanity. They don't respect us as equal customers. And what I mean by they expect it, they take it as what's expected. They'll put it to the point of, why patronize a establishment like that you're going to get this kind of treatment when there's equally qualified black-owned businesses that you can patronize and get better treatment, right? So you'll see them say, we will get bad treatment in a non-black owned, and because we should get better treatment in a black owned, but then when they see us not getting better treatment in a black owned, then they'll take offense to that, because they'll feel like, hey, we should be doing better when we're dealing with our people. We should be doing better when we are owning our own businesses and doing our own things, that we should be the epitome of professionalism, the epitome of customer service, the epitome of taking care of our communities. And so I see that point, because you do have that issue. If anybody's ever been to a Korean-owned or Asian-owned, what they call those things, beauty supply store, or cosmetic store, those kind of things, you'll find that you'll get followed around, you'll get treated like secondhand citizens, you'll get less than stellar service from those owners. When you go to a black-owned store that specializes in ethnic, and black and brown people hair or cosmetics and things of that nature, you kind of expect to be treated better. That you expect to be given, a better experience in terms of your consumer experience. But when you don't get that, you do feel slighted, because you're like, hey, I'm coming to you because I expect better treatment than what I'll get if I go over to the Koreans or the Asians or whoever I'm going to. I know in Detroit, I know in LA, I believe in Atlanta as well, is that we've had that issue with the Asian-owned facilities, and when we go to the black-owned ones that are prevalent in our communities still, not as prevalent as the Asian-owned, we'll expect better treatment. But then the flip side of that, and I think what you may be actually be talking about, Clint, is just the side of, you know, like let's say restaurants. Restaurants are a big one. I think that's the biggest one. Is that we'll go into these kind of establishments and we'll get definitely less than stellar treatment, or customer service is lacking, slow service, things of that nature, and it becomes, you know, one of those things where people definitely, I think, hold those businesses to a standard that sometimes those businesses either can't attain, or expectations that they should be achieving, but they're just not, right? You know, and I think that's the sad part of it, because you do, you know, expect more because you're feeling like, hey, you know, sometimes, I mean, and let's just be honest, sometimes we're only going there because they're black owned. Sometimes we're only going there to support, right? And, you know, we have people that will go in and feel like they need to get A1 service because they're there just for the fact that they're trying to support, regardless of price, cost, quality, or whatever the case may be. You know, I know here in Detroit we have a lot of black-owned restaurants and food vendors and things of that nature, and we do hold them to a standard. There are certain ones, and actually it's becoming a kind of a recurring theme with certain business owners that we notice that, you know, they come in, they have their, you know, their big thing, and, you know, they're like, you know, oh, we're the newest things out, even though we realize it's the same owners, and, you know, you kind of realize who these people are, but outside of them, there are certain ones. I mean, I've been seeing a lot of great reviews for a lot of the newer vendors that are out there, a lot of the newer restaurants that are out there, mom and pop shops, things of that nature. And you know, it's definitely good to see the turnaround. I mean, I can't speak for the entire city, but you know, I know a couple of brothers who will go to every new black-owned spot that comes out, and I'm getting nothing but good reviews, or I'm getting, you know, like, hey, this is a good spot to go to. These are good people. They take care of you, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, because we hold it to a standard, you know. But I think also, too, because we expect things, you know, from our people, because we know we can do better. We know we can be great. And, you know we have to basically show out to show people, hey, we have better quality, we have better service, we have better than these other chain locations, you know what I mean? And it goes the same for other nationalities. They do the same thing. They show out to show that, hey, you know, our local or our small restaurants and, you know, single locations can be much better than these chain locations.
Yeah. I feel like, for me personally, I feel like I treat them the same way I would treat any of us. When I come in there, I expect you to be professional and about your business. I shouldn't come in there like the same way I would expect any other people with any other race establishment. I would expect the same thing. If you are disrespectful, I'm not going to patronize your doing. Like, you got one time with me, and I'm just going to tell you where to go, how to go there, and I won't be bothered. I did that in a hair store one day. I went to a hair store with my sister, and you know, you look at that hair, you want to touch it, see if it's the kind of texture of hair you want. And lady was telling me I couldn't touch it, and I said, well, if I can't touch it, I can't buy it. I can go to I can go to a hair store down the street and touch anything I want, because they know if I like the texture of what I'm looking for, if this is what I'm looking for, I'm going to pay for it. But the way she talked to me, I kind of told her where to go, how to get there, and went to another place and told her that this is why people don't come to your establishment, because the way you treated people. Like, she was following me around the store, and then, like, you know how you see a nice hair, and you're thinking about buying it to get your hair done, and it's like, oh, let me test, let me see how, is it soft, blah, you know, whatever. And she like, don't touch it. Well, I can't buy it. If you want to let me touch it, I'm not going to buy what I can't feel if it's something, you know, what I'm looking for.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, but she was some bullshit that day, and, you know, like that. But then here's my problem, and I said this on the previous podcast before, about black-owned businesses. Not all, but some. Particularly, I work in downtown Trenton. It's going to be really, really honest. It's a couple black-owned businesses within downtown Trenton you can go to, depending on what you want. You want some soul food place you can go. You want some wings, it's a place to go. Like, it's always some places you can go. If you want your nails done, it's a black-owned nail business downtown. It's all that. So you can probably go get stuff done. The problem I have is two businesses in particular that are in downtown. Well, one was in downtown, it's no longer there, and another one that's not too far from where I live. It's almost close to downtown. When you want to go get food from there, you're dealing with the staff are having full blown cuss out arguments while you're trying to get your food. The place is not that big. They do have good food depending on what you're getting. Their food is known to be good. Sometimes, they have a bad day that day and their stuff don't be good. But for the most part, their food is good. But you can go in there and y'all arguing. So while I'm trying to get my food, I can't get it because y'all having a full-blown cuss-out argument. Like, come on now. I don't want to do it. I don't want to deal with that. I want to deal with that. The white establishment, Chinese, Latino, nothing. Like, y'all got too much going on. I don't have time for that. I just came on my break to get some food. Like, I don't want to be waiting all day because y'all having an argument about nothing. Whereas I can go to another black establishment in downtown Trenton and have, like, the wait time is a little bit long, but your food is slamming, they're courteous, they're apologetic, they've been and sat you down. The bartender makes you a nice little drink as you're chilling and waiting for your food to come. And they're you know that when you're going there, you have to order ahead because they are always packed. So you have to order, like, you know that because their food is good. So you always have to be mindful of that, but it's more of how you do things. I expect you to be the same way as if I went to a white business or any other business. I'm here to patronize you because you're a black business. Everybody that knows me knows I know people that do everything. I know a lawyer that can do closing house closing. My sister is a real estate agent. I got friends that make T-shirts and miscellaneous stuff. Friends that make little odds and ends and stuff like that. I got friends that sell toys. I got it all. So I got Clint. When Clint started his business, I was like, hey, you need to ride my boy, hit him up, like all this notary, so I was all about I'm all about helping each other out and like putting money into your pocket. So if I'm going to do that, I need to know that if I'm referencing you, somebody to go to you're going to treat them the same way you treated me. And I don't like recommending people for bullshit. And everybody knows me. When I work in the HR, your job hiring, don't put me on the application because I don't know how you work. And if I do know how you work, please don't put me in the application because I don't want to be that person. Like, she know you do, but how she, Don't do that.
Here's my thing. I agree with you. Don't do that with me neither. I hate when people do that. But here's my thing, because I agree with basically everything you said. The only thing I be frustrated with is the language. When people preface that statement with, black business is always like this, or when I deal with a black business, like don't do that, because especially when I know that these other businesses do the same thing. Like you just said, you don't accept that arguing even if you go to a Chinese restaurant, Spanish restaurant, or wherever to get your food.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because there's been plenty of times I done walked in a Chinese restaurant and you hear back there, da 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 da.
Yeah, I don't have time.
I just don't know how to speak Mandarin. Yeah, I don't. So you know what I mean? It may look like they just having a regular conversation to us, but they be arguing. And I speak Spanish, so when I go in the poppy spot and I see and I hear them go, I'm like, they be doing the same thing. You know what I mean? It's just that most people don't know it because they speak in a different language, so they probably be cussing each other. I've been in a Spanish restaurant where I caught the two, it was two girls working by, just standing behind the thing while the other was working, and the two ladies, they were in Spanish, but they were talking about the customers.
Right.
Yeah.
Being real disrespectful, calling out their name, and then once they realized, I start staring at them, and gave them that little eye contact, like, I know what you're saying. They stopped.
Yeah.
You feel me? It shocked the hell out of them.
They look at you like, oh, what you, I did that one time. I started saying something. It was like, what? I was like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You feel me? That's my only issue when we deal with black business. Because my thing, and also because I like to separate the two. That's the point I wanted to make.
Yeah.
We can support black. Like I always support black business. Like you said, you support black businesses. We support black business. We run black businesses. But I also understand the customer part of, I still want the customer service to be at a certain level no matter what. Cool. You know what I mean? Cool. But don't hold black people to a standard that you don't hold another race to as a black person.
Same thing.
You feel me?
No, I'd be like, you be going on, because I don't got that. Don't do that shit.
Yeah, like don't, cause and then like we also have that. Okay, I'm coming. Like Willie said, we have that attitude of, all right, I'm supporting you just because you're black. Now you're supporting me just because I'm black. So now you're going to hold me to a whole different standard than the next person. But you know, you don't give me the ability to realize I may not be able to reach that standard. Don't put me at a higher pedestal because I'm black. Just support me because support my business because I'm black. But still realize I'm human.
Yeah.
Right.
Just like everybody else, just like every other race. You know what I mean? That's what the Asians or whoever, the Europeans, that's how they do it. Okay, we're going to support ours, but we still realize that these people are still just human beings, and human beings are flawed.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, my thing is, if you're gonna hold them to a standard, you can't say I'm holding you to the standard because you're a black business, or I'm holding you to a standard because I expect this better of you than what you're doing. But then you're looking at every little thing, nitpicking, right? You know, because I mean, I've heard people nitpick the heck out of. I mean, not just black business or any business, but I've heard it. You know, I mean, at least I feel like I've heard it more when it comes to black-owned businesses. You know, and I think to myself, like, you will take that from these chains. You know, you will take this from these corporate stores. You know, they're doing the same exact thing. You know, so why is this different? Why does this change things? You know, or in the case of just small businesses versus large businesses, it's like, why does this change things when you will accept this kind of behavior or this kind of situation? You know, like you said, there's things that will happen that's out of their control. You know, I went to there's a Coney Island down in the city and on the west side, and I was I think I was there. It was late at night, but still, you know, regardless, it's not what their it was not in their control. You know, it was basically there was some guys in there acting up, you know, cussing and going, you know, and it's like the employees in there, they're the skeleton staff. There was a young female there, an older guy, and a younger guy. And it's like, you know, I'm sure they don't want trouble, so they're not about to go out there and confront these guys. There's a bunch of guys hanging out, and they normally have their business open, you know. And there was, you know, some lady was in there, and she was all upset, like, you know, I can't believe this place got, you know, these riffraff up in here. And it's like they don't have them up in here. They're there, customers just like you, and they just happen to be, you know, some people you don't want to deal with, but this has nothing to do with this business. Why are you faulting the business when it has nothing to do with them? They're being conveniently open for you as a customer. You know, be mindful of the fact that they can't control their clientele. You know, and if they have security or whatever, but you know, who wants to go to a place where there's security posted? You're gonna feel like it's always dangerous there. You're gonna feel like it's always a trouble there. You know, and who's gonna be able to afford that? You know, when it may be just this one, you know, these one-off nights. You know what I mean? It's just one. Huh?
Where I used to live at, right? It was 3 stores where I lived at. There was one in the first store very close to me, the one I called the middle store, and the other one around the corner. So in one store, it wasn't riffraff. The middle store, it was like, so that was the full store where they made hot food. You know, they had the little beans and rice, you know, all that. So my daughter used to like to go there. I had to stop her from going. Poppy was like, we don't see you no more. He's like, you don't really come down here like that. And I said, I don't, not unless it's during the day. And I said, and it's that. And he was like, why? I said, because you can't come in the store and just order food. It's a bunch of dudes hanging. It's a bunch of drug dealers sitting in your store. And they could control it. Like, if y'all know how them Dominicans are. They a little bit, you know, got a little couple sprinkles. It's 6 of y'all, grown-ass men in the store with one lady. It's like 4 dudes just sitting in there hustling outside. No, not even outside the store, not hanging outside the store like they used to. They in the store chilling with y'all. Y'all all drinking Coronas, chilling. Like, I'm not going to send my teenager into the store trying to get some food for us, and it's a bunch of niggas in here. Like, I'm not about, and like, not like just ignorant, like just cursing, just being extra, trying to talk to her, don't realize, not paying attention that she's a minor, like all this stuff. Like, even when I go in there, they be on some bullshit. So I know when she's in there, it's the whole, they're on some bullshit. And so he's like, you stop my stuff because I don't deal with that. Like, I'm not going to deal with that. So then you don't get no business from me. I would rather cook than to I be wanting Spanish food or Dominican food, but like, I'm not going to come down here and have to sit into your store and deal with that for a little bit of time that I'm in there. Like, what parent, especially me, want to send my teenage child down the store with grown-ass men sitting around doing unproductive shit all day? And they just sitting here all day like, I don't do that. And so that's why I said I treat everybody business the same. If I feel comfortable in your store, like, there's no reason I should be ordering food and there's some dude that don't work here standing in the back, like 6 dudes in the back standing there talking with y'all. Like, I don't want nothing from y'all. That, first of all, it's a health hazard, and I don't trust that shit.
And I wholeheartedly agree with you. But that's also, but that's also a reflection of what Willie said as to, or necessarily where the area. You feel me? Sometimes businesses are just in bad areas, and if you live in a bad area, you know what I mean. You can
choose.
You can control, but when you see them doing that, you was right not to go there,
right?
Because obviously you was right not to go there and send your kids there. That's not the issue. The issue is with them is they're looking at you as a business is you already know what it is.
Right.
You feel me? If they in here chilling with us, you know what it is.
Yeah, I don't like concept.
You know what I mean? You feel me? We don't want to clear them out. We don't want them. They basically there to protect us from any of the nonsense. Somebody coming here to rob us. That's the payoff. Because the area they in. It's the same thing going on out here with stores out here. And every inner city and them little side streets and them little, you know what I mean, where it can go down at. You know what I mean, where a body can get lost at. Like, that's when you know what I mean? That's when you have them type of situations at. It just is what it is.
Yeah,
I would like to switch gears for it.
For me, it was one time I was in there, and they locked the door and told everybody to get down. I said, I'm good.
See?
I'm good.
You see? But I did want to switch gears. Okay, yeah. Here it goes. So since we all ran business with Willie, I think you ran more than any of us on this phone, but so you can speak to it to a more in depth. How? All right. Now we done talked about getting the business. We done marketed and promoted the business. You know what I mean? So now we done built our clientele, and we done talked about the customer service. Our service is good, but now all of a sudden, with a lot of new small businesses, a downturn hit. You hit that rut.
Right.
You know what I mean? All businesses go through this. I've experienced it to where it was like, whoo. You know what I mean? Everything was super lovely, and then it got super slow. How did you deal when running your businesses? Have you experienced that, first of all? And if you did, how did you deal with that, maintain, and then come out ahead on the other side?
Yeah, so, I mean, for me, that was kind of almost kind of a normal thing. There was always those ups and downs, right? There was those times where things were really going great, and I felt like we were on the top of the world. Money's coming in, paying bills, all that kind of stuff. And then, a couple months later, it gets slow. Like you said, it could be low customer activity, it could be competition, it could be whatever the case may be. One of my businesses there was a lot of competition in the area. There was, so customers had a lot of options. And, I think at that point, you definitely have to figure out what's your best strategy when it comes to either increasing your sales or either cutting your expenses or figuring out what's the best way to just kind of survive the wave, right, that downturn in the wave. And, I've always felt like you have to look at your costs versus your reward or your payoff in doing something about it. So in certain situations, what I've done is just kind of rode the wave. I've tried to always position my businesses in a place where I felt like, I could absorb my expenses without, trying to increase sales. And what I mean by that is, I've always dealt with freelance artists because I was a graphic designer, but I had, a lot of big projects, so I would hire other artists or I would hire other techs and things of that nature. The biggest thing for me was making sure that I didn't have a consistent incurring cost of that. So a lot of times when you build your team, you got to think about, sadly, you got to think about who's expendable, or think about who can be hired on, on small periodic things versus having them on payroll constantly. So that's one of the biggest things that you'll find, especially in small businesses, is you gotta determine your people costs. You know what I mean? Your expenses are going to sometimes go along with that. Having a big office or having a building or whatever the case may be, you got to make a decision. Do you want a big building just to look good? Do you want a small office to keep your costs low, or do you work out of your house? You know what I mean? So I've always had to look at that strategy. I've always chosen to work, from home, do more on the road sales, visiting the customers. I kind of created a aspect of that was a good thing to my customers. Like, look, I'm coming to you. You don't have to come find me. I'm going to come straight to you. So a lot of my customers that I had felt great about the fact that they didn't have to leave their business in the middle of their day, their work day, while they was trying to make money, for me to come and take care of their marketing needs. I would come to them instead versus some of my competitors who forced their customers to come out to their shops, their big buildings. I had one competitor, I actually worked with him, and he had a big building right in the middle of the city. Had tons of customers, but he had a big cost there as well. He had employees on payroll. He had a lot of overhead in terms of utilities, and I didn't have a lot of that. So I was able to take advantage of that strategy of being able to say, you know what, I'm able to, keep my costs low, especially in downturn, and be able to still survive.
Dope. Sonny?
I think she just...
Somebody lost?
Yeah, she is.
Oh, okay.
My mic on mute. I didn't realize it. I was talking. Question?
So how would you, when running a business, like I was saying, we always go through that downturn. It's a roller coaster ride. How would you, even with doing this, how did you did it break you? Did you experience it? And how did you handle that experience, if you experienced it?
Well, it didn't really break me. I'm just, I think, like, as far as with the podcast, we're earning enough to pay for, like, our hosting sites and stuff like that. So that's a plus side. It's like once in a while we don't have enough, but, it's covered because I plan for it. So, and it's not as much as, it's not as much as lot, but so far, so good. But I would really like to see more income in, paying for it, and less out-of-pocket expenses for any of us. Because I think that if we bring in more, as far as getting more clicks and stuff like that, and bringing in money, or people doing merchandise and stuff like that, it to me it'll be paying for us to whatever talking junk over text message on it, right? I got a lot of music on. No, I don't. My cat was meowing. She was at the door. I wanted to let her in and make a bunch of noise. But anyway, I just feel like if we bring in more money, it'll cost less. It will take less out of my pockets, or our pockets too, when we're promoting different things. Because on the social media sites, you can promote more by putting more money out and stuff like that. So it'll be better for us to have less of our own money going out and more of the money that we bring in from the podcast and everything going into this, all the stuff, all the sites we host on, different things we pay for, getting different sites where we want more of our content on it, and not always using the free stuff, because the free stuff, is the limits. So when you put more money, you're able to broadcast and get it more placed out there.
Right.
So, it's like you get that free for, free to do such and such, but not the full extent of what the potential could be on that site. So, and all that has to offer. I know our clicks and stuff are going up, so we can get some revenue from that, but to be able to consistently earn and always be able to do more, like, we talk about putting more out there for, different things we're trying to do, and that money will benefit what we're trying to do moving forward, especially like expanding this podcast, doing a little bit more than just what we're doing currently. So, all that costs, and it's not free. So, like, we all got kids and bills and stuff like that and other responsibilities, so we can't dive all our money into one pit. We have to be mindful of how we use our money. We have to prioritize, and it's nice to actually have this is set. We don't have to be worried about this. This is already done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's exactly me. I was all going into, being part of the workforce. And I guess my situation, I don't know if it was different, but my situation, it started off, I always wanted to run my own business and do my own thing. But, I tried the different things before. I tried to start throwing parties. That failed. I learned when you do stuff like that, you have to have the right team, the right group of people around you. You understand? Because that's the real important thing. If you're running something that's above and beyond what you do, like, that's important to have the right team. Because with the transportation thing, what happened with me was, when I went through it wasn't that it got bad, it got too big, too fast. And it was just me. And even with the results that I had, that people were seeing, and that I was showing people, when I would ask or try to, throw it out there to people like, yo, come in with me, we can do more and expand more and make more money.
Right.
You feel me? It was hesitation. I never got nobody to come in. So at some point,
that's that fear factor.
Yeah. And then, like, for me, it puts me in a predicament now to where my business is going to start taking a hit, because so many people will call me and still do it that I have to turn down. You understand?
Like me.
So it's like I'm just not available. You feel me? I can't be in three places at one time.
Yeah,
during the day.
There. Mm-hmm.
You feel me? And it's like, oh man, all I need is just one more person. You know what I mean? All I needed was just one more person that's legit, that's because that's reliable, and that's, that's trustworthy, and we can do something. Like, we can really, really do something. You know what I mean? So my thing was, I had to scale back. And then, like you said, you give all these other things that you have to deal with when you run a business is expensive. So with a business like this, car repairs, and if you have multiple cars, you got multiple car repairs. Because if you're driving a lot like I do, you know what I mean, your car is going to go. You know what I mean? Tomorrow I got to take my car to the shop. You understand? And then, when you scale back sometimes, then it hurts business. So then now the income ain't coming in as much. Then a lot of them customers that you had, all right, now they got their own whip, or they got it found somebody else. You know what I mean? It's something that's more comfortable for them. So now you got to start the whole process over and find a whole new group of clientele. You know what I mean? And it's just it's that cycle. It's that cycle, and it's like that I can go.
Like now too.
Yeah. Huh? Say that, I couldn't hear you.
So now you're stuck between the Uber and Lyft lifestyle.
but see, I started at the height of that when that was starting. That's the thing. Like they don't affect my money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I still get to it. You know what I mean? I still get to it.
Right.
Like, damn, you still like, yeah, I still get to it. You feel me? My phone still rings. Even when we do this, sometimes I still get texts. Yo, you know what I mean? I was 24/7, 365. You know what I mean? Like, nah, I ain't got to promote, but I outwork you. You know what I mean? I definitely outwork you. You feel me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So that's my thing though, is that I think sometimes people, they forget that there's not just one business doing each type of activity, or there's not just one company taking care of customers in each market or each niche thing that's out there.
Exactly.
There's room for others, and there's room for specialized services, and there's room for mom and pop shops and small businesses to get into these areas. If we just allow only the big companies to do this stuff, only the known names to do this stuff, or the franchises, then there would be no free trade. There would be no what they call it fair market out here. They could control all the pricing if there was no competition. So we have to make sure that people understand that just because there's an Uber doesn't mean there can't be Clint's car service. It doesn't change the fact that you're still out here, you're still available to take care of customers and to provide a service that they need, and at a price that they can afford, or maybe with a different level of like you say, of quality of service. It may just be the person. It may be just the personableness, or the safety. Right, the safety.
Yeah,
I mean, the safety track record on these other companies is not up there. So you're talking. You're going to deal with somebody who in the neighborhood, or in the city, and they're going to take care of you because that's their reputation. People know them. Yeah. So you
shout out to my daughter. I got to give a shameless plug. Shout out to my daughter. Because my daughter got me a lot of business. So sometimes I had to bring my daughter.
No doubt.
You feel me? So you know what I mean? Like, anybody know my story? Like, I started really out of desperation. You feel me? Like, I had to do something to make money. So that was my boom, and then it just exploded into something real legit and solid. But people used to see my daughter in the back seat. So, you get into a car with somebody you don't know, sometimes, especially females, they're going to be a little nervous. They see me, dreads, you know what I mean? I don't look like no nerd or no geek, so they may be nervous. But then when they get in and they see my daughter, they super comfortable now. You feel me? So then they tell it, and then you feel me? And then they might tell somebody, oh, man, he thought he'd be bringing his daughter along. He do it. And that alone helped my business. You feel me?
Right.
You'll never know. Sometimes you'll never know what things that explode. But I know my baby sitting in that back seat sometimes just playing on my other cell phone. You feel me?
Yeah.
Brought me money. You know what I mean? I knew that, and I think she even knew that.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how I started my gift wrapping things. My daughter, every Christmas, I wrap my sister's gifts. Like, they have 50 billion gifts. I just be sitting there wrapping all night between my gifts, their gifts, everybody else's gifts, or whatever. And my daughter was like, I think it was wondering, like, you should get charged for that because you wrap me against the name, give me nothing, blah, blah, blah. So I decided one year, I'm like, I'm going to start my little rapping thing, so let me see what the prices are and I'm see if I can kind of beat that. And then my thing was, look, I'll wrap your gifts. And, most guys, that was my clientele for the most part. Like, when I first started out with guys, because, guys don't rap. Not to say you guys don't rap. It's more, don't sit there and rap gifts.
No, I don't know any guys that rap gifts. Dudes out here with gift bags, some of them is rap.
You ain't never lied.
And that was my thing. Like, I had this guy friend I know. He was sending his kids some gifts, and he was like, yeah, I need to rap. And I said, I'll rap it for you. I just charge you for it, blah, blah, blah. So I did that, and so like that, whatever. So it got to me and my sisters. Like, I might have to start charging them because they be coming over here with just astronomical shit, like 10 gifts. I'm like, come on, man, that's some bullshit. But I started it with that, and then last year I got a couple people that did it, and it was like, I'll wrap it. You can pick it up that same day. You drop off, like whether you drop off the wrap or not. I always had name tags because people forget that all the time. I got tape because people forget that all the time. I have extra wrapping paper, so if you get the cheap shit and it's ripping, I got some extra shit, whatever. But like if I have to go out and buy it or you come bring it to me, like if I had it, use mine, you had to pay a little bit more. But if you brought your own, I wrapped it with that and whatever. And I would hold it until you wanted me to hold it, put it up, or you could pick it up the same day or the next day, depending on when you dropped it off. And this Christmas, actually, wrapped my sister's gift. I didn't charge their bastards ass. I need to charge them. And my cousin came. He was like, Pa, can you wrap my gift? So I wrapped this stuff for him. And his friend, when he came to pick it up on Christmas Day, he's like, oh, you wrapped his gift? I'm like, yeah. He said, you wrapped everything, huh? I was like, yeah, I wrapped it, gift back. He had boxes. I put some stuff in bags. He didn't bring no paper because, niggas don't care about that. But, I had him covered. Scully, he had me wrapping boots. I ended up giving him some of my gift bags, like just doing extra. His boy was like, I'm going to need you. I do birthdays too, so if you got birthdays coming up and you get your kids gifts, you want them wrapped, I got you. So, like, that kind of, like, seeing the other people seeing me wrap other people gifts, like, oh, okay, you do. Like, it ain't like the best wrapping ever, but it's wrapped. You don't have to do it.
Right.
Like,
right. I mean, that's the biggest thing. People just need convenience sometimes. Sometimes they just need things done out of convenience, and sometimes that's what a business brings them. I mean, a great idea a lot of times is, in terms of what people could do when they want to start a business, do something that that you see people either struggle with or that they never seem to have time to do. I know a couple of people who have started house cleaning businesses, business cleaning businesses. They've done my daughter, she does sewing. She sews in quilts and things like that, or crochets rather. That kind of thing. One of my cousins, he's a caterer. Shout out to Whip Appeal Meals. He takes care of meal prep for people. He's a personal chef, but he also does catering. Another buddy of mine, he does. He has like a diner over on Telegraph and 96. Shout out to No Change Cafe. So I mean, and he's there next to a factory where people are definitely hungry coming off of their shift, and they can go anywhere to eat, of course, but he's literally across the street, so they can literally send somebody over there. They'll pick up all the food. They don't have to go out on their half-hour lunch break trying to find something to eat and having to wait whatever amount of minutes to get the food, and then having to come back. And now they're trying to juggle food and driving at the same time, and everybody's gone at the same time, that kind of thing. So it's convenience, right? And a lot of times that's what it is. Bring your customers convenience, and they'll pay you for it, regardless if it's something you might think is little or not as good as somebody else's, or whatever the case may be. A lot of times it's the convenience. And like I was saying about my businesses in the past, is that I've brought it to people, and that was one thing I looked at. I used to do flyers and business cards and things like that, and I would go to the people and say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna come here, I'm gonna show you your options, I'm gonna give you your design ideas, this, that, and the other. And in that way, they didn't have to try to figure these things out. When you're running a business and you're trying to promote your business or market your business, you may not have good ideas, or you may need somebody to help you with those ideas. So, that was what I was bringing to them. They, people, they didn't have time to leave their offices or go searching out for a graphic designer and things like that, So I started bringing them, and it was funny because that was my slogan, was everything under the sun. So I felt like I needed to bring the convenience of business services to small businesses. I did everything from computer repair to graphic design, web design, all that kind of thing, and, was providing them that convenience and the ease of getting things done without them having to walk away from their office. So, or like in Sonny's case, being able to bring the convenience of somebody like, hey, I done already went out and bought all these gifts. Now I got to wrap them too. Like that's a lot, and a lot of times you can go to these little, some of these shops or some of these, stores. I believe Macy's, or at least in Detroit, Macy's, they gift wrap. You can go to, what they call that place, Spencer's Gifts. They would wrap their own thing. I forgot what they call it. I know they call it FYE now. So, you could go to certain shops and get stuff gift wrap, but now you got to go back to the mall, deal with the mall traffic, deal with and then hitting these onesie twosie spots that's going to do that for you. But you still got to wrap all these other gifts. Now she's bringing the convenience of bring me all your gifts, bring me everything you have. I'll wrap everything for you, no matter what it is, instead of you having to go and get clothes wrapped over here and boxes wrapped over there, and gift bags, gift bags and cards over here. You come to one stop shopping right here, one stop wrapping right here. So yeah.
Because my cousin's like, oh, I forgot name tag. Oh, I got that. You good? He like, huh? I'm like, oh, don't forget that I got it. Like, don't worry.
Yeah. So one other thing I wanted to bring up too in this conversation was in terms of lessons learned. One of the biggest lessons I learned, and it's kind of what Clint was just speaking about earlier, and I just kind of want to reiterate the point, is building your team. That I think a lot of small business owners, especially sole proprietors, sometimes what we forget is sometimes we do need a team. Sometimes we do need help in getting things done, because either you're short, you're creating a shortcoming, or you're creating a detriment to your customers, or you're creating a detriment to yourself. A lot of people get into the business because they want to, set their own hours. They want to have a second stream of income. They want to, be able to, either spend more time with their family or do something bigger for their family. I know when I was starting my business, it was more to create the second stream of income, as well as to, be able to spend a little bit more time with my family. And my thing was, that I learned was that I needed a team, especially when business was good and when things were going great, is that, I can't be, out in the field and at home doing the graphics work and, at certain clients' places doing XYZ and, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I have to be able to be in multiple places at once. And the only way I can do that is if I have a team. So definitely look at the fact of how your business is set up. Look at how your business is run. One thing that people overlook a lot of times is setting up a business plan, setting up an org structure, or setting up roles and responsibilities in their business, so that way they can understand what needs they have. And sometimes you may not need somebody to do what you do in the business, but you need other help. You may need a secretary. You may need an accountant. I know that's one thing I definitely needed was an accountant, because I hated doing the accountant work. You may need somebody to just run around and do errands. You know what I mean? Because I know being a field worker, being somebody out there, doing on-site sales, I couldn't do a lot of the purchasing work that I needed done, because making business cards, doing graphics, a lot of times I needed printing paper, or I needed samples picked up and dropped off to the printing shops when I had bigger jobs. I may have needed ink for my printers. I may have needed whatever the case may be, whatever supplies. So you may need a runner. You may need somebody. And so, it may not cost a lot to hire somebody to be a runner for you. Sometimes you may not even have to pay the runner. A lot of times what I've seen small businesses do is go to the colleges, get interns, because one, you're going to teach them the ins and outs of how to run their own business, how to, bring out that entrepreneurial spirit. So, or whatever thing that they're studying in college, you may be able to help them bring that to the real world. So you can get an intern that can help you. So look into, getting interns. Go and apply or sign up to be a business on the job sites, because people want jobs. Some people out there, I mean, I've been one of them. I ran into a situation a few years ago where my company had laid us off, and I got desperate. And I was like, you know what? I'll take a pay cut to get into a place and to be able to get my feet back wet and a bunch of different things. And, so a company, they needed a ton of help, and they hired me. And the thing is that sometimes people just need a job. So if you hire somebody and it's like, hey, I can pay you $10 an hour to do X, Y, Z for my company, they'll probably take it, even if they're overqualified, or if they are just qualified and you can teach them the rest, that kind of thing. So don't be afraid to create a team, to build a team, or to build infrastructure of people or services that can help you do your job better as a small business owner.
Facts. I would also say, I'm probably going to reiterate a couple of your points too, because, foresight. I said foresight earlier. So sometimes we always forecast. We try to prepare for the worst, right? Well, I told you in my story, I didn't prepare for success, and not preparing for success can lead to failure as well. So you have to stay prepared so you don't have to get prepared. Have things in place. You know what I mean? So you have to see, all right, well, I'm starting this business, and if it's explode, I got to be able to, whether you're selling stuff, like say if you're selling something, so now you have to have the supply to meet the demand. So whatever you're selling starts to sell out because now your service is good and you got everything clicking, but you can't meet the demand, then guess what? Sooner or later, your demand is going to bounce.
Right.
You feel me? Because they're gonna keep coming to you like, well, you don't have what I need. You feel me? And that's similar to where if I can't be available all the time, well, they're gonna go to somebody or go to a service who's available more often than I am. You know what I mean? So you have to look forward to that as well. And then at the end of the day, if your business is customer service based, value your real good customers.
True.
You know what I mean? Like really, because that's what sustained me through downtimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Was valued customers that who just because, you know what I mean? Because even with some people, if I really rock with you, and you use me consistently, you referred me to people, you did this, that, and the third. Well, then guess what I'm gonna do on certain occasions? You hit me up, you know what I mean? Oh, you know what I mean? You in a bind? I got you, because I know just because of who you are, what type of customer you are, that's gonna come back to me.
Yeah.
Tenfold. You know what I mean? Value your valued customers, especially if somebody don't abuse that. You know what I mean?
True that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I don't got nobody who really abuses that. Anybody who ever did that, they were a valued customer before, and then they, you know what I mean, brought more business after. You understand?
Yeah.
So, value your valued customers, you know what I mean? Treat them, you know what I mean, with the utmost respect. You know what I mean? Cut them a deal once. It's not wrong. You know, we always say, don't go to, you know what I mean, always looking for a deal. But sometimes even your best change, who makes you, they cut deals for their customers. So why wouldn't you? You know what I mean, for your valued customers. You know what I mean? Cut a deal once in a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Do something for free once in a while. Look out. You know what I mean? And then, like Willie mentioned, count your money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Know what you're putting in and know what you're getting out. You know what I mean? The expenses, you got to know that. You got to know that, because if you're just going on and, I'm just making money, but you just spending money, you feel me? You'll never, your business not going to get ahead. Feed your business first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The more you feed your business, the more, you know what I mean, you'll get in return.
Absolutely. I think my takeaway is to, I don't want to say stay in your lane, but know where you are. You're not going to be where everybody else is. When you're in competition with other people, sometimes that can be your downfall. I think people in some businesses I've seen and people that I know that have their own businesses, if you try to keep up with the quote unquote Joneses, you're going to miss what makes you special. People will like with Clint, people will go to you because of how you are. But if you try to be like everybody else, you might lose that that whatever that is that makes people want to go to you. And I think people get hung up on it's a competition. It's not really. It's you can't compete with what you're doing. It's how you do it. You can perfect what you're doing, but on your own terms, and keeping it authentic to yourself. I think a lot of people lose their authenticity. But I don't think that's a word, but whatever it is, you know what I mean.
Authenticity.
Because they get hung up on what they feel works for everybody else, so they do the same thing. We see that a lot with podcasting. People lose their own what's special about them because they want to follow up with trends. You got to step outside of the trends and be yourself. And that's one thing a lot of us did with blogging. This is how we got to where we are now. You were your authentic self, unapologetically yourself. So when you get people that are authentic, you're going to get an authentic audience. And if one thing I've always learned, and that's one thing I learned as far as even getting into the podcasting game, was from blogging. I was myself. And you have to, and that's what people, and that's why I say, like, I got friends that do rap, make beats and stuff. Like, I know people that do a bunch of different things, and I always say to my friends that rap, I always say to them, I'm gonna believe in you if you believe in you. You gotta believe in your brand, what you're doing, and that's what makes people gravitate towards you. If I'm watching you perform and you're not really believing in yourself, why would I believe in you? Why would I support you?
Exactly.
That's what we say about like when we do podcasting. How we ask other people to support us if we don't support us. The same, like we sell shirts, we sell hoodies, it's this and third. How we ask people to buy those things if we ain't buying them ourselves? Like you don't believe in yourself. You know what I'm saying? We ask for y'all money, but we're not doing it ourselves. That's why you see us in our stuff. We believe in what we're not perfect by far, but we are authentically who we are, and our purpose is to grow. And I think that's the best takeaway you could be, is to be your authentic self. Learn what you need to learn to be able to keep pressing forward and promoting yourself and bettering yourself to get better with this. Like, we're all about branding, so you're branding yourself to get people to follow this brand that we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to believe in yourself. You have to be your authentic self for people to buy into what you're doing. They're going to buy into honesty. There's a lot of people being fake. I don't have time for that. So that's
don't get comfortable.
Yeah, and I struggle with that. I do struggle.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely don't get comfortable.
That's one of my biggest things, but that's my thing, and that's why it was, and it's crazy to me because when I thought about doing this podcast, it was for me troublesome because I'm so comfortable. I get so comfortable that I have to step outside of the box, and y'all see it because Quendo yell at us, and I'm like, oh shit, let me get my life together because I get that comfortable. It's a safety net.
Yeah.
For me, but
and what happens?
I'm so uncomfortable, but it's working for me. I want to be uncomfortable that it works.
Yeah.
I'm scared what happens after success.
Yeah, the one thing with being comfortable when running a business is you lose sight of the details. You know what I mean? And the minor details, and when you start, and that's what makes more successful businesses last longer than others, is paying attention to the details. You know what I mean? And when you pay attention to what works and what don't work, or how to deal with certain types of people, you know what I mean? Like when you dealing in customer service, you got to learn that you got to deal with. Sometimes you have to put on the front because it ain't about you. You know what I mean? You know how many days I had to do what I do when I was super sick. You know what I mean? When I was going through something really traumatic in my life. But business is business. You know what I mean? So when I can't be all sad, I can't be down. You know what I mean? I have to, interact. You know what I mean? I have to sometimes not interact.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I had one client, and I used to. I mean, it was like 4 days a week for like, you know what I mean, almost a year and a half straight. And I tell you, you feel me? We barely, most of the time, said 2 to 3 words to each other in the car.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like that's just how it was. You know, so I have to pay attention to that. I have to pay attention to how you deal with other people.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because if I lose sight of that, then what happens? Boom, that's my business. So I always tell people, when you're dealing with these big, whatever your business is, pay attention to the details. You feel me? That'll get you through too.
Yeah.
True that. True that.
Hold on, guys. We got a call. I'm gonna get that man. Calling you on the line with GSP Radio. What's your name? Where you from?
Yeah, my name's Joe from Montana. I take a look at your description page, and it says going from worker to boss and everything in between. Then I presume you're giving advice on what a person should do before they start becoming an entrepreneur. Am I right?
That's us.
All right. So if you could, do you have any like thumbnail advice to give to somebody who wants to start a business? What would be the first thing that you would advise them to do?
Have a plan.
Right. Yep.
Do what?
Have a plan.
Okay.
Don't start. It depends on what the business is. So you have to understand how you're going to finance it. You know, all the different types of how you're going to promote it. Because we talked about marketing, promoting. What type of team do you have? You feel me? All this goes into starting a business, and you know what I mean. Before you start it, you know, you want to have a solid ground on what you're undertaking. Have some foresight.
Right. Yeah. The biggest thing I think is you know, you want to understand what you're going to be providing to your customers. Figure out what the market looks like in your area, or whatever area you're trying to tackle or target, and then create your business plan so that you can understand how you're going to structure your business around that activity, and figure out how you're going to, you know, pay for expenses, how you're going to fund the business, and then move forward with you know, running the business effectively and being able to deliver. Because a lot of times people they know, like, let's say if you're going to create a product, or if you're going to offer a service, but they don't know how to deliver the service, or they don't know how to deliver the product. You have to think about those things up front. So that's you know, the planning stage is probably the most essential stage in the business preparation.
Yeah, that's the that was the kind of answer I was looking for, because as somebody who did enter the business world many years ago, I've learned from that. And what I would tell people, and I did this as a hypothetical exercise many years after I got out of the business, a little bit too late, was that I took a spreadsheet and I said, well, all right, let me just hypothetically put down what the expenses would be for a normal business, and find out from there, extrapolate what how much it would cost to run a hypothetical business with one employee, 2 employees, no employees.
Right.
And what it would take to actually sell it, because I'm also in sales and marketing. So I learned that. I remember when I was working on the job with some friends of mine, and we all left the job at the same time, and then we were talking about starting a business together. And then I said, well, before we jump in, let me do this. I went home, I wrote up some questions, and some of the questions that I delivered to the guys were, well, what kind of business do you want to be in? Why do you want to be in this business? What's your competition? How many people, how many sales do you expect to make the first year? Why do you expect to make those kind of sales? And then I realized is that I should have done that to myself
years before. Exactly. And hindsight is 20/20, right? Hindsight is 20/20. That's one of the big lessons learned that I had, was that, and I did the same thing. I've owned businesses for over 25 years, and one of the biggest mistakes that I feel like I made after 15 years in business was that I decided to write a business plan 15 years later. Like it finally hit me like, you know what, I never really wrote out a business plan, and I never really figured out, like you just said, why was I in business? Like, what is my true goal and nature of this business? Before it was like, oh, I got this hobby that I have, and I'm just going to do it, right? And I never sat down and figured out, why was I going to do this for a customer, and what was I doing it for, and how was I going to really deliver this? I figured out the delivery part, along the way, of course, but it was like something like you said, the big questions that you ask and figure out later is like, these things should be asked up front. So definitely, that's great advice. Definitely great advice.
Yeah, when you say deliver, do you mean physically deliver, or are you talking about the intrinsic value of the product or the service?
Well, actually, no, yeah, yep. Thank you. You hit on both points, because there's sometimes people, what they don't think about is there's, like you say, the physical delivery. Is how are you going to get the product to the people, but then also in terms of how you're going to make this product valuable to them, or the service valuable to them. And I kind of touched on this earlier in our conversation. We were talking about the convenience factor, because one of our co-hosts here, she does something that, when she initially started the business, she thought, I'm not the best at this. I'm not, doing anything that no other business is doing in terms of wrapping gifts. But the thing is, she was providing a convenience, and that becomes part of the value, the value of convenience.
Hold on, guys. I think we just added James.
Cool. Hello?
Is James online?
Yeah, this is Baby J.
Hello.
What's going on, brother? What's going on? What's going on? This is my boy Baby J. I had him call in. He runs. Matter of fact, just tell the people about your business real quick, bro.
Well, I own a barbershop on South Broad in Hamilton, 1708 South Broad. It's called Baby J's Next Level Cuts. And I've had it for 2 years. I was with the previous owner for about 3 years, and he left to open up another shop in Pennsylvania. So we had a little discussion, and I was like, I'm willing to take this because I have a New Jersey cosmetology license. So I'm like, there's no point in trying to go work in Pennsylvania when I have a Jersey license. That'd be, if I get caught out there or something, then I can lose my license, So I'm like, I'll stay here and take this over. And I had a little talk with my parents and my friends and family, my wife, and a few people was like, oh, you sure you're ready? It's a tough job. It's da-da-da-da. I'm like, I don't want to live with that what if factor. What if I don't do it, or what if I did do it? And, so I'm like, I'm going to give it a shot. What's the worst that could happen? I close down and go work somewhere else because I have a license. But, not to toot my own horn, man, I think I'm doing pretty good. I'm holding on, got a lot of clientele. I got 6 chairs. I got 6 barbers with me. Well, 5 plus myself, so it's 6. And we've been doing pretty good for the last 2 years, man. We do a lot of gift backs. We do,
yeah.
Go ahead.
The question I wanted to ask you real quick, because we only got like 10, 15 minutes left, is what is the number one thing as far as operating the business that has been the biggest challenge or that you learned the most from?
The biggest challenge is maintaining good barbers. It's a lot of barbers out there that's willing to cut, and it's easy to hire anybody just to be in the chair, but I thrive on having good barbers because, people look us up and, I have a 5-star rating. They expect to have a good cut. So if you just got anybody in there cutting and they jacking people's heads up, that's going to bring your business rates down, and I don't want that. So I will take an empty chair for 6 months to find a way for a good barber to come along than to just have anybody there just to try to make money off of them. You know what I'm saying? So, because I'm there cutting myself, so I make my own money. You know what I'm saying? So, and I've been that route before to where it was only 2, 3 of us there for a couple months. And then, I hired some other new barbers, and they're good, immaculate. So you can come in my shop and sit in any chair, and you'll be taken care of, as though I'm taking care of you. That's what I expect. And if I'm not there, I expect you to take care of all the clients as though I am there, and as though, I would, you know. So that's pretty much the hardest part, is maintaining good barbers.
I have a question.
I would.
Quality.
I have a quick question for James, because I experienced this with my son. I don't know how familiar you are with the podcast or what Clint told you about us, but I have an autistic son.
Okay.
I remember introducing him to a barbershop very early on, after 1 or whatever, and not too many barbers know how to deal with him, especially within the inner city. They want to send you to other barbers that are equipped to deal with kids like him. I'm more of a let's promote each other type of situation, so I want to bring him to barbers that he sees looks just like him, and that could kind of be understanding of him. Have you ever experienced that, and if you have experienced that, do you kind of ask any barbers? Do you have barbers that know how to handle kids like that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, me personally, I have four autistic kids that I cut, and they bring them solely to me because I kind of know how to handle them and deal with them. I play with them. I learn their a lot of kids are different. Like, I have one that touches my nose while I'm cutting him, but I touch his nose back, and I divert his attention to what he likes to do, or if he's playing with his toy in his lap, or he's shaking his head, or I got one kid that kicks and screams and like to do backflips in the chair, but guess what? I kick and scream with him, and I do backflips with him, and I get his haircut done. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much
a lot of how to deal with that.
Yeah, I got.
I'd like to jump in.
Go ahead.
Because what kind of marketing do you do for your barbershop?
We got Facebook, Instagram. We pass out flyers. We do back to school events. We did a Ties for Trenton, to where we invited a lot of people out with their kids and young teenagers to teach them how to tie ties, because a lot of these young gentlemen, this generation these days, some of these kids can't tie ties, so we taught them how to tie ties and teach them how to be gentlemen. And same thing in the barbershop. I see a kid with his pants hanging down, like, yo, pull your pants up, bro. So it takes a village.
And the reason I asked was the number one reason, in my opinion, that businesses fail is because they don't know how to market properly. Now, you've just done something which is kind of unique. Now, the rest of the people on the panel, they've probably heard of the UPS, USP, unique selling proposition. If you have a video of some of your autistic kids in your chair and you put it on Facebook and YouTube, you probably will have too much business coming into the door. You probably need to open up another shop.
Right. I mean, and I don't like to do that because I don't know how parents feel about, posting their kids, like that with the, with that condition or whatever. So I try not to do that, but the word does get passed along, and that's how I did receive, a lot more autistic children coming to my chair, because those parents, it's kind of like a community, because they all want to teach each other how to help with their kids, because this is new to a lot of people, and it's hard to handle. And, like, I got one kid who, like, kicks his mom, screams, yells throughout the shop. So I have him come when it's a little quieter and not too many people there, and he can be more subtle or turn the music down. And some things ticks him off to where, it's kind of hard to handle. But, I find out the do's and don'ts, and I work with it, So I understand what you're saying.
I would suggest this.
And
posting videos, put that on your flyers or stuff, like some way when you promote it. You don't have to put the kids per se, but put that on your flyer, because I know for me, living in the city, I had to find out. They were trying to send me to, like, different hair cuttery and stuff like that, and it's like, no. I shouldn't send him so farther out just to get a haircut, and there's 50 million barbershops within my radius. It's ridiculous. But I think, like, and I always say this about within the city, and I'm not trying to make this about, autism, but I think within the city there's so much we don't know who can handle our children that we take them outwardly, and they don't have to. Because at one point, I cut my son's hair at my house, and it's like, I need him, like, now he's used to it. He used to going in the barbershop with not too many people, like early in the morning or random time of the day where it's not that many people. He can get in because that, pressure of too much going on, he can't deal with. So you have to find barbers within the city that are comfortable and understand that and are flexible to their particular needs. So I think if you promote that, not necessarily by video, but if you promote it on your flyers, it may bring more business because they're not word of mouth works too, but it's also if you put it out there.
That's why I'm glad he called in, because if he didn't, and that's why I'm glad about this platform, and I'm glad we did this show, because now, and that you would have never had the opportunity to ask him that question.
Right.
He would have never known, and you would have never known that. Yeah. And so when we talked about earlier about the premise of the show is each one teach one. You feel me?
Right. It takes a village.
It takes a village. It takes a village.
Right.
You know what I mean? And if when we all support each other, especially in doing positive things in the community and positive businesses, is important. One quick thing I wanted to touch on, because I know we're about to close shop, and I'm glad he on here because I wanted to talk about this too, about when you open a business where it's a property, is location.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so when you open a business, like, location is everything. You know what I mean? I think that's one thing, and I appreciate the other caller on the line that just asked that question. That's one of the things I wanted to say when he had asked this earlier, was it depends on what type of business. Because if you're opening up like a barber shop or car detailing, I know a couple of people who open up some car detailing shops who are really good at what they do, but where their businesses was at, wasn't nobody coming there, or nobody could see it or find it. You know what I mean? So
you have to advertise as well. Like, I got flags and barber poles, and so people see that.
Yep.
Yeah. The location is an aphorism in the real estate industry. My personal opinion is that location, although important, isn't as much of a detriment as people think. Let's not forget that Las Vegas was built on sand, and one of the mob, Bugsy Siegel, he saw it as potential, as nobody's coming here, but if we build casinos, they will come. And there are instances of corporations and companies who are in lousy locations, but because the product that they deliver is so good that people will get there. You remember the Seinfeld episode where the soup Nazi, where people had lines around the block just to eat this guy's soup?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so he had no location except for a roach coach, but he was delivering a pretty good product.
Right, value.
So location is important, but it's not it's not going to be a major detriment to success.
Good point. Great point. Yeah. Well, we're about to close out this show.
Thanks y'all for having me, man.
No problem.
Man, we appreciate you, brother. We appreciate you calling in, man. And like I said, give your information out one more time before you go.
I'm at 1708 South Broad Street in Hamilton, and it's Baby J's Next Level Cuts. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Google, Baby J's Next Level Cuts. That's cuts with a K, Kuts. Thanks for having me, man.
I appreciate you, bro.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all. Have a good one, all right?
Yep.
All right, have a good one.
Yeah, and thank you, John, for joining as well. Appreciate your insight. And mention again the selling principle you had mentioned earlier.
Who that, John?
Yeah, did we lose him?
John.
Yeah.
So he's still on here.
Yeah.
Hello?
He's still there.
Yeah, I believe he was mentioning the unique seller principle. Definitely, people look that up.
Joe, that's me.
Yeah, Joe. Yep. Joe. Yep.
Oh, Joe. Yeah, Joe.
I'm sorry, Joe. I apologize. And so many J's on here tonight. So many J's
I know, right?
I know. You guys changed my name.
Right.
Waiting for John to chime in. Yeah, unique selling proposition. That means, because I've learned from experience of having been a salesman working for companies who want me to sell their stuff. In other words, they want me to sell their shit. You don't do that. What you do is you make your product or your service, even if it's, I hate that word competitive, but even if it is competitive, almost price for price, square inch for square inch, find something about your product that is interesting, promote that particular type of interest, the more significant the difference is that can help out your customer, the more the more prospects and leads you will have, so that you can go after them for have them become customers. Because if you're going to be vanilla, you got to add a little bit of chocolate or strawberry or banana in there. Otherwise, it's just a matter of who gets,
Yes.
who gets the prospect first.
Appreciate you, Joe. Appreciate you.
Sure.
All right. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Yes.
All right, thank y'all. Have a good night, all right?
Yep.
All right, good
All
night.
right.
Yep.
Everybody take
All
care.
right, bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
You too, buddy. Bye-bye.
Hello.
Go ahead, close us up, Sonny.
All right, that's all, folks. Close up, Sonny.
Good night, guys. Good night.